Welcome back to my channel. Today, we explore the value of specific coins, the most valuable silver Washington quarter dollar value in market in dollar. So let's get started. First up, the 1991 Washington quarter with the D mint mark. At first glance, it may look like an ordinary coin, but when we study its history, condition, and collector demand, we can better understand its value in today's coin market and auction world. The design was first introduced in 1932 to celebrate the 200th anniversary of the birth of George Washington, the first President of the United States. The design was created by the American sculptor John Flanagan, and it has remained one of the most iconic coin designs in American history. On the front side of the coin, you can see the left-facing portrait of George Washington. Around the portrait are the inscriptions "Liberty" at the top, "In God We Trust" on the left side, and the date 1991 at the bottom. Just to the right side of Washington's ponytail, you will notice a small letter D, which indicates that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint. The reverse side of the coin shows the well-known eagle design that was used on Washington quarters for many decades. The eagle is shown with its wings spread wide, holding arrows in its claws and olive branches below, symbolizing both readiness for defense and the desire for peace. Above the eagle are the words United States and America, and just beneath it is the denomination quarter dollar. Many people hear the words silver Washington quarter and immediately assume the coin is made from real silver. However, by the year 1991, the composition of the quarter had already changed many years earlier. From 1932 until 1964, Washington quarters were struck using 90% silver, but starting in 1965, the United States Mint changed the composition to a copper-nickel-clad metal. Because of this change, the 1991 D quarter does not contain silver and instead has a copper core with outer layers of copper and nickel. This means its value usually depends on collector demand and coin condition rather than precious metal content. The Denver Mint produced a very large number of these coins in 1991. In fact, more than 600 million pieces were struck for circulation. Because the mintage was so high, most examples that were used in daily transactions are still very common today. Many circulated coins are worth only their face value of 25 cents. However, collectors often pay closer attention to the condition of a coin, and this is where grading becomes very important. When a coin is described as being in very fine condition, it means the coin has clearly been used in circulation, but still
Next up, the 1996 Washington quarter with the P mint mark is an interesting coin that many collectors and coin enthusiasts enjoy examining closely. This coin was produced at the United States Mint and struck at the Philadelphia facility, which is indicated by the small P mint mark located on the obverse side of the coin. The coin is part of the long-running Washington Quarter series that first began in 1932 to honor the first President of the United States, George Washington. Over the decades, this coin design has become one of the most recognizable pieces of American currency, and even modern issues like the 1996 quarter can attract attention in the collector's market. On the front side of the coin, also called the obverse, you will see a detailed portrait of George Washington facing left. Around the portrait appears the word Liberty across the top, while the national motto, "In God We Trust," is written near the lower left side of the portrait. The date 1996 is clearly shown near the bottom of the coin, and beside it sits the small P mint mark representing the Philadelphia Mint. The design of the coin was created by sculptor John Flanagan, whose portrait of Washington has been used on quarters for many decades. The reverse side of the 1996 Washington quarter displays a powerful image of an eagle with its wings spread wide. The eagle holds a bundle of arrows in its claws, symbolizing strength and readiness to defend the nation, while olive branches represent peace. Above the eagle appear the words United States of America, and below the image the denomination quarter dollar is written clearly. This reverse design remained on the Washington quarter until the introduction of the state quarters program in 1999. Although many people refer to this coin as a silver Washington quarter, the 1996 issue is actually not made of silver. Quarters minted after 1965 are composed of a copper-nickel-clad metal mixture. The outer layers of the coin contain copper and nickel, while the center core is mostly copper. The coin weighs approximately 5.67 grams and has a diameter of about 24.3 millimeters. Because of this composition, the coin's metal value itself is not very high, but its collector value depends mainly on condition and rarity. One of the most important factors in determining the value of any coin is its mintage. The 1996 P Washington quarter had a very large production number with hundreds of millions of coins struck during that year. Because such a large number entered circulation, most examples that people find in their pocket change are only worth their face value of 25 cents. However, collectors always search for coins that have survived in better condition or that show unique characteristics. When a coin is described as being in very fine condition, it means that the coin has circulated but still keeps strong and visible design details. On a Washington quarter in very fine grade, the hair details above Washington's ear are still noticeable, though slightly worn. The lettering around the coin remains sharp, and the eagle's feathers on the reverse are partly visible even after years of circulation. Coins in this condition often show a darker shade or a natural toning from age and use, which can sometimes make them more attractive to collectors. In today's coin market, a 1996 P Washington quarter with very fine condition usually sells for a small premium above face value, often between $1 and $3 depending on eye appeal and collector demand. While that may not sound very high, coins that are preserved in uncirculated mint state condition can sell for much more. Collectors are willing to pay higher prices for coins that show no signs of wear and still have their original mint luster. Auction records show that some exceptional examples of the 1996 P Washington quarter have sold for surprisingly high prices when graded at very high levels. Coins that receive professional grades such as MS-67 or MS-68 from respected grading services can sell for hundreds of dollars at major auctions. These high-grade coins are extremely difficult to find because most of the original coins entered circulation and experienced wear over time. Another factor that can increase the value of a coin is the presence of mint errors. Occasionally, a coin may leave the mint with a striking mistake, such as a doubled design, an off-center strike, or a clipped edge. When collectors discover these unusual variations, the coin can become much more valuable because error coins are far rarer than normal issues. Some rare error versions of modern Washington quarters have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on the type of mistake and the coin's condition. Collectors also pay attention to coins that develop unusual toning or darker shades over time. A naturally toned coin with deep gray, blue, or rainbow colors can stand out.
Next up, the 1994 Washington quarter dollar without a mint mark. At first glance, this coin may look ordinary, especially when it appears dirty, dark, or heavily circulated. However, coin collectors always like to study these coins carefully because even common coins can sometimes have surprising value in the modern auction market. The Washington quarter is one of the most famous coins in the United States. It was first introduced in 1932 to celebrate the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first president of the United States. The front of the coin shows the portrait of George Washington facing left, a design created by sculptor John Flanagan. Around the portrait, you can see the word Liberty at the top, the phrase "In God We Trust" on the left side, and the date of the coin below the portrait. On the reverse side of the coin, there is an eagle with its wings spread, holding arrows and olive branches, with the words United States of America and quarter dollar. The 1994 Washington quarter without a mint mark was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. In many modern coins, the Philadelphia Mint uses the letter P as its mint mark, but on older coins, the mint mark can sometimes appear faint, worn away, or hidden because of circulation and dirt. When collectors say a coin has no mint mark, it usually means it was struck in Philadelphia. During 1994, the Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of these quarters, which means they were made in very large numbers and entered circulation across the country.
Even though many people call this coin a silver quarter, the 1994 Washington quarter does not actually contain silver. Real silver quarters were minted only until 1964. Starting in 1965, the United States Mint changed the composition of quarters to a copper core with a nickel-copper outer layer. The 1994 quarter weighs about 5.67 grams and has a diameter of about 24.3 millimeters with a reeded edge around the rim. Because of this modern metal composition, most circulated quarters from this year are worth only their face value. Condition is one of the most important factors in determining the value of any coin. A coin described as being in dirty condition usually shows signs of long circulation. It may have dark color, scratches, worn details, and dirt that has built up over many years.
Next up, the 1986 quarter with the P mint mark has become an interesting coin to examine. At first glance, it may appear to be an ordinary coin that people see every day in circulation, but when collectors carefully study its condition and overall appearance, they sometimes discover that even a common coin can have a higher value in the auction market. Today, we will talk about the 1986 Washington quarter struck at the Philadelphia Mint, especially examples that appear with a shaded or slightly dirty surface but still remain in very fine condition. The Washington quarter design has been used in the United States since 1932. The front of the coin features the portrait of George Washington, the first president of the United States. This portrait was designed by sculptor John Flanagan and has remained one of the most iconic images in American coinage. Around the portrait, you can see the word liberty at the top, the phrase, "In God We Trust" on the left side, and the year 1986 at the bottom. On coins produced in Philadelphia during this period, a small letter P appears on the front of the coin, indicating that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. The reverse side of the 1986 Washington quarter shows a powerful image of a bald eagle with its wings spread wide. The eagle is holding arrows and olive branches, representing the balance between military strength and peace. Above the eagle, you will see the words United States of America, and below the eagle, the denomination quarter dollar appears. This classic reverse design remained on Washington quarters for many decades before later design changes were introduced in the modern era. Although many people call these coins silver quarters, the 1986 Washington quarter is not made of silver. After 1965, the United States Mint stopped producing circulating quarters in 90% silver. Instead, coins like the 1986 quarter were made using a copper core with outer layers of copper and nickel. The coin weighs about 5.67 grams and has a diameter of about 24 millimeters. Because it does not contain silver, its metal value alone does not make it rare or expensive. In 1986, the Philadelphia Mint produced a very large number of these quarters. The mintage reached hundreds of millions of coins, which means the coin is quite common in circulation. Many examples can still be found today in pocket change.
Next up, the 1965 Washington quarter is one of the most interesting coins in modern United States coin history. Many people see this coin in their pocket change and think it is just a normal 25-cent piece. But collectors know that coins from this period represent a major turning point in American currency. If you have a 1965 Washington quarter without a mint mark in good condition, you may be wondering whether it has any special value in today's coin market. Understanding the background and value of this coin can help you determine whether the coin in your collection is common or possibly something more special. The Washington quarter design was first introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of America's first president, George Washington. The design was created by the sculptor John Flanagan, whose portrait of Washington has appeared on the quarter for many decades. On the front of the coin, you will see the left-facing portrait of George Washington, along with the word Liberty above his head, in the phrase, "In God We Trust," near the lower left side. The date 1965 appears clearly at the bottom of the coin. On the reverse side, the coin features an eagle with its wings spread wide, holding arrows in its claws, and resting on a bundle of olive branches,
symbolizing both strength and peace. The year 1965 was extremely important in United States coin history. Before that year, quarters were made with 90% silver and 10% copper. These silver coins had both collector value and precious metal value. However, by the early 1960s, the price of silver had increased and people began hoarding coins because the metal inside them was worth more than the face value. This created a coin shortage across the country. In response, the United States Mint decided to change the metal composition of the quarter beginning in 1965. The new coins were produced using a copper core covered with a copper-nickel outer layer. This change removed silver from circulating quarters and allowed the government to produce coins more cheaply and quickly. Another interesting detail about the 1965 Washington quarter is that it does not have a mint mark. Normally, coins display a small letter that indicates the location where they were produced, such as D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But between 1965 and 1967, the United States Mint removed mint marks from coins in an attempt to stop collectors from hoarding newly released coins. As a result, every regular 1965 Washington quarter appears without a mint mark, even though many were struck in Philadelphia. Because the mint produced more than 1 billion quarters during 1965,